What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back. And it's time to get into our video of the day. Listen, there's a lot going on out here in this world, a lot going on out here in these streets. And my intention is to show it all to you. But we're running into a problem. People not hitting the like button. I leave the intro off for a few videos just to see what happened, and nobody wants to hit the like button. What is wrong with people? Hit the like button, dog. Everybody got to hit the like button. I thought we had this under control. I thought we had it settled. But clearly we don't. So we're going to have to hit the button. Hold on one second. We're about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dog Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we're doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back. And we're digging into the news. There's a lot going on. And I had some good old-fashioned rest yesterday. I'm feeling a lot better. Everything is doing good. Everything is going great. And I want to dig in to the news. Let's start off right here. Donald Trump came out and said that it started treating people as they should be treated, which is as terrorists. These NGO-funded terrorists that are running around and deciding that they get to attack everyone and everything. Looks like it's finally coming to an end. And let's start with Pam Bondi, who I really wish she would indict more people. At this point in time, I'm cool if Pam indicts a ham sandwich right now. And she hasn't quite done that yet. And I'm being patient, because one of the things I came to the conclusion of yesterday after our noonday prayer was that ain't none of this, none of these people. This is all God. And when I got to that conclusion, that it was all the Lord working, and it was like I went from 100,000-foot view to 1,000,000-foot view yesterday. And when you have that 1,000,000-foot view, you realize, no. Chill out and pay attention. But things ain't going to go the way you think they're going to go, James. Basically, that's what he said. They ain't going to go the way you think they're supposed to go. They're going to go the way I say they go. How dare you, son? I said, I'm sorry, Pops. I'm bugging. Because I was complaining. I was like, man, when these people going to get arrested? When's something going to happen to these people, man? These people disrespecting you. They disrespecting me. They disrespect everybody. I know. I said, okay, well, when we going to bust some heads and crack some skulls? Oh, it's coming. It's coming. But not when you say it come. Oh, okay, my bad. I done got beside myself. I done lost my ever-loving mind. I'm sorry, Lord. And then today, here we go.
And Trump's mission was very clear. His directive was make America safe again. That's what we're going to do. No more weaponization. We're going to go back to fighting basic crime, getting these cartels out of our country by securing our borders, prosecuting the worst of the worst, seizing the drugs, which is what President Trump has directed us to do since the second he's been in office, and lock up the violent criminals as long as we can behind bars, or seek the death penalty. And that's what we've been doing. You know, we've signed death warrants. We've to seek the death penalty since he's been in office. It's not business as usual. We are going back to the basics, fighting violent crime. And taking these drugs off the street is the main component of keeping our kids safe.
Now, Pam Bondi is coming out on the news, and I'm cool with that. Go ahead, Pam. But the most interesting thing Pam Bondi had to say, and I'm a jack Benny for this, because Benny was the one I saw who had it. By the way, Benny Johnson is just risen to the point to where he's a monster of media. Congratulations, Mr. Johnson. You're a monster of media. Just make sure that your place where you're located is hidden, because they're swatting everyone. We're going to get into the swatting going on, which is a form of violence. But this is the one I was looking for. No games. Pam Bondi says they've signed death warrants to seek the death penalty for violent crimes. Nope, that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one with the NGOs. Here we go. We getting that. You see, this manufactured violence, like, for example, the things that happened against Alex Jones, the things that's happened against Elon Musk. And I'm going to tell you, it was the murder of the gentleman that's with InfoWars. I think that has sparked this, because they went across, they went overboard. They've gone overboard. They decided, okay, we're going to take all the money that we've embezzled into Ukraine, and we're going to put people on hit lists, and now we're going to finance terrorism in the United States of America. And the only response you can have to this terrorism is to arrest them, persecute them, lock them up. I will put some of these people in Gitmo. But here she is talking about this.
We have people we're locking up on that. We have someone in jail right now from one of the dealerships. They threw a Molotov cocktail through a dealership. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison. So if you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you. Wow. And well, if you're funding this, we're coming after you.
And see, that's the most important thing that she said. And if you're
find out who you are.
So
if you're funding this. See, if you go get the people who funding this, which it's clearly obvious who's funding this, these are Soros NGOs. I mean, if you follow the money back, it's clear who's funding this. It's not like it's any big secret who's funding this. It's clear who's funding it. It's clear. The minute, and I just don't like the fact that we're working our way up the totem pole. But nonetheless, we're working our way up the totem pole and getting where we need to get to. And we'll get there. I believe now we'll get there for sure. But we got to go a little bit further than this. Like these Tesla people, all these manufactured freaking boycotts. Yesterday, they decided they were going to go into Trump Tower, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I thought it was the most insane thing that I have ever seen. You decided as a protester that the thing to do was to go into Trump Tower. Like it was utterly ridiculous to say, oh yeah, we're going to go in Trump Tower and we're going to protest in Trump Tower. Are you out of your mind? Where did you bump your head on? I mean, it's Trump Tower protest. And I'm going to say some things here that I normally would never say. But here's the people inside of Trump Tower. And it just goes to show you that these people believe, here we go. These people believe there's no consequences. And this is what I was talking about yesterday. And here's what most people will not say to you. This is what I would call a false flag attack. And what I mean by that is this. You go in with red shirts saying that you're Jews. And so you're saying we're liberal Jews that are protesting the what's going on in Palestine. And then you go into Trump Tower. And you really have to think for a moment, like who told them, who gave these clowns assurances that they would be safe if they did this? And they're lucky I'm not the president of the United States. Because guess what I would have did? When I found out that was going on, I would have said, hey, don't go in there. Leave them in there. What do you mean, Mr. President? No, leave them in there. I would have went, got on Air Force One, flew to New York, got out of Air Force One and went home to Trump Tower and brought the whole power and might of the government with me. And I would have walked straight through their ass and watch what happened. Oh, you tough? I'm coming to see you. And I'm bringing everybody with me. And I just told the Secret Service, you might want to pack a bag and pack a lunch. You might want to get some people to come with me because I'm going there right now. Well, sir, we need to plan. Nope, we going right now. I'm finna see you, Jack. You finna smell my cologne. You gonna come in my house? You done lost your damn mind. And I would have told him, now here's what we gonna do. If anybody raise a finger, if anybody throws anything, we gonna bust their behind. I'm personally gonna lay hands on somebody. So this is where we at out here in these streets. And I'm gonna march right up in there. This is why the Lord probably never let me be president or governor or mayor of anything, because I'm crazy. But you're not going to go in my house and act a damn fool. And I'm supposed to depend on the New York Police Department? No. I'm bringing my police with me. I'm bringing my police with me. Not them police. I'm bringing my army with me. And we're going to see how this work out for you. It's not going to go the way you want it to go. And it's going to be the most craziest thing in the news for the next week because I'm bringing my police. I'm bringing my government, my police with me. Yeah, I'm talking about Delta Force coming with me. I'm bringing, and it would see all these out, EMP, I mean, black out all them damn cameras, burn them up right now. People have been on their cell phone like, we hate Trump, and their phone would start blinking. Power went out the building. They'd be like, damn, what's going on? All that chanting would have stopped, and them doors would have opened. Oh, hell, here come President Williams. I'm talking, I'm going there with full military fatigue like I'm Putin. Because you are an illegal army inside of our nation, and you taking advantage of our First Amendment, which is the right to protest. But every act of these people is sedition. And because we got to occupy media, we not taking care of it. No. We going in there with them, lock the doors behind us. Mr. President, lock the mother doors. Now, we can box it out, we can talk it out, we can stab it out, or we can shoot it out. But you about to leave out my damn house right now. This is my home. You think you're going to invade my home, the home of the President of the United States? Yeah. I don't care what kind of hit you got out on me. Talking about you got a Ukrainian hits. I don't give a damn what hit you got out on me. I'm finna show you better than I could tell you today. You gonna learn today, in the words of Kevin Hart. You gonna learn today. Yeah. That's why I'm not president. That's why I'm not president. And here's the news coverage of the people getting arrested. How many people look Jewish to you? That little Asian girl don't look Jewish.
We were bringing this to you live. People
that Asian girl don't look Jewish.
Into Trump Tower protesting the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia University graduate student, former graduate student, who has riled up so much of the anti-Semitism that we've seen, not just on Columbia, but other campuses as well. There's a big
And listen, let me go to the reason why this is a false flag. Because who benefits from this? I mean, actually, who benefits from these protests? I mean, really, who does? What ends up being in the news from these protests? Now, don't get me wrong. Khalil will go to Gitmo. And honestly, minimum, all these prisoners, I mean, all these protesters, I would take them down to Gitmo for 30 days. They'd be like, you owe me a phone call. No, I don't owe you nothing. This is the United States of America. I don't owe you nothing. You just committed a terroristic act against the President of the United States, because that's what it is. You in Gitmo. And I'm leaving you in that bad boy with lights on, music playing. We gonna see how much you believe in what you protesting. We gonna see how strong your name is. We're gonna see what you believe. We're gonna test your heart and your soul. Is this what you really believe? Now, if you really believe this after 30 days of being in Gitmo, I'm gonna let you go and you protest all you want, because I respect your mind. But oh, no. You don't get to protest, get arrested, and go home. No. You get the consequences for your actions. Dad, let's see how much you believe in this cause, or how much of this is just emotional foolishness.
Dispute going on right now between the Trump administration and Democrats and these supporters of Khalil's who say he has been unfairly detained. But what we're hearing from the administration is Khalil has been at the nexus of this anti-Semitism and the violent protests we've seen on some of these college campuses. You can think about the one building they took over at Columbia months ago and detained. They actually held a janitor hostage. We see the arrest now here at Trump Tower. Can we hear what they're chanting? We don't have the audio, but you can see them getting loud, and you can see the police finally moving in. And one of the things I think that we need to note here is you can see, we mentioned before that there were police in the corners. Now we see more police show up, overwhelming force. Let's listen in and see if we can hear what they're chanting.
And see, the thing that gets me is this. Because the cameras are on, Everybody's being genteel with it. Nah, you trespassing. I will grab you by your hair and drag your monkey behind out of there. All this jumping around, yank, shoot. They'd be like, damn. That we give the wrong signal to these people who go too far. Now, for example, if they said they were going to surround Trump Tower and march outside Trump Tower and say their piece, that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. You on public land, you're in the street, that's public property. You done trespass. You in full violation. I don't have to be genteel with you. But see, everything is we worried about the optics. That's why they can run around with Palestinian flags in the street. That's why they can run around with Mexican flags in the street and be like, Viva Mexico, because everybody's worried about optics. Because the Trump administration is worried about optics because they're like, we don't want to give the liberal media anything. No, I'm grabbing you by your hair and tossing you one handful of hair and one full of clothing. And I'm tossing your dumb behind out on the street. And then when you be like, oh my God, they manhandled me. Yes, we did. Sue me. And you go sit in a prison cell. And the dudes, if you don't want them to get most, take them dudes, send them to Rikers Island for a little while. But you can't continue to have protesters go in and out of prison or in and out of the holding cells and get released and then get back out on the streets and embolden them. I mean, you saw what happened with Black Lives Matter. It went from that to burning down buildings.
Hard to make out what they're saying. Perhaps that's for the best in this type of situation. But this is the continuation, I guess, the third day now of these protests that we've seen. A couple of days ago, we saw some protests in Lower Manhattan. Those led to arrest. We saw the demonstrations yesterday at the courthouse, and we saw the hearing where the judge was weighing whether this was a free speech issue. We saw Susan Sarandon there for that. And now today we see this inside Trump Tower, specifically on the private property.
This is not a free speech issue. This is trespassing. That's the thing that kills me about this. Don't nobody need to determine whether this is free speech or not. This is trespassing. You're breaking the law. It should be pepper spray, and patches of hair and pieces of butt cheeks and skin all over the place. I'm sorry, man. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And of course, here's one of the funders. But when you really think about it, he don't really benefit from it. I think this one way he may be taking the blame. He don't really benefit from this. He don't benefit from this one. What does it benefit him to have protesters protest against the Jewish community? It doesn't benefit him. It doesn't get anti-Semitic bills passed in America. It doesn't do anything. I mean, he's a traitor to the Jewish community. Anybody who knows his story, I don't even think this is him. Now, everybody's going to say it's him, but I don't think this is him. I don't think this one is him. Now, everybody's saying that NATO shifted its stance on Ukraine joining NATO. Well, you want to know why? Because Donald Trump just came out and told them, hey, I'm going to put 100% tariff on everything y'all got. And so the next day, they shift their stance.
He's already taken off Ukraine joining NATO off the table. Mm-hmm. So Ukraine is left asking this question, how are we going to know we're going to have proper security?
Yeah, but he was also very clear, Pete Hegseth in Brussels, but also the president himself, that when there is a deal on Ukraine, it has to be lasting. It has to be durable. Putin should not have to try this again. So the question is then the how. How do you do this post a peace deal? Then I would side with the president. You first need to have a peace deal before you can get into these details. Obviously, behind the screens, there will be discussions on the what if there is a peace deal, how then to maintain that. But there are many ways to do that.
Of course, they are taken off the table. Of course, it's being taken off the table. And this is the guy that met with Donald Trump yesterday in office. Common sense tells you that this is not going to work out well for Zelenskyy. And it's not going to work out well for NATO. And all of the judges and the people who are trying to force us to give them foreign aid need to be removed from office. I'm over it, bro. Every last one of them that's like, oh, we need to make sure that, you know, the funding goes back out, and we're destroying our partners in NATO. No, they're not our partners, bro. They're our babies. They are Section 8 children. Now, this right here is an issue where I don't understand what's wrong with the Democrats, but I think this is just, they're going to destroy themselves. Congressman Tim McBride says Republicans are weird and bizarre. This is the guy who claims to be a woman. The Democrats are dying on this hill of transgenderism, which is the dumbest hill for you to die on, because if you wanted to look at the percentage of people who are transgender, it is probably 0.001% of the United States. But they want to die on this transgender hill. And I say, let them die on it. Let them be represented by men who dress up as women, and let them do it. That's fine. If that's what you want. If you want to die on the hill of defending that, then go ahead. It's the dumbest issue. It's not even an 80-20 issue. It's a 95-5 issue, maybe a 97-3 issue. 97% of the United States of America does not give a damn. 3% is the people who actually care about this. And I know this to be true because when I talk to individuals who I know that are gay, and I'd be like, man, I can't believe that Democrats is doing this all over the stuff over transgender. They'd be like, man, I don't understand that. I don't understand how that voice got so loud and so magnified where it's dominating everything. Because for the average lesbian or gay person, that's now the face of their rights. A man that's a cross-dresser is the face of their rights. So they've been hijacked. And it's crazy because what the liberals did was they hijacked women, they hijacked the women's movement and moved it into black people's movement. Then we got black people's civil rights. Then they highlighted civil rights and all the pains and aching of civil rights, and then moved it into gay rights. Then they highlighted gay rights, hijacked gay rights, and moved it all the way to transgender rights. And then they highlighting that and trying to push it to the next level lower. You justifying it all on women and black people. And then relating it back to the struggles of women when they were in the workforce, and then black people when they were dealing with issues pure, real dangerous issues for black people in America. People being lynched and hung from trees. Anybody who says that didn't happen is a damn fool. That's the history of America. But negates it. And now all that's been used, all that pain, all that suffering has been used to justify this? Hell no. You trying to tell me that my great-great-great-grandpa who hung from a tree, his death is used to justify this wickedness? Hell no. Screw you. You ain't going to dishonor my forefathers and ancestors like that. No. Screw you. 2 ways from Sunday.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party that incited an insurrection. I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues.
Man, even the hand motions are male hand motions. I mean, if you look at it, that the actual hand gestures are masculine hand gestures. Watch.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party.
These are masculine gestures.
I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work.
Whose hand gestures do that remind you of? Does that not remind you of Hakeem Jeffries, hand motions. These are all male hand gestures. How do I know? Because when I get mad and I'm talking to somebody, my gesture is this: boom, 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 palms facing out, hands coming in. Because what you're doing is you literally, your emotions, this is like you crushing that person's head. This is like you slapping them in the face. This is them, this you pointing at them, boom, 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 talking down on them. Women don't use those same hand gestures. If you're a male and you watch this and your wife gets mad, your wife's hand gestures are not like that. That's not how women behave. They don't behave that way. It's just not how God made them. This is an abomination.
They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre.
Wow, that's enough. It's weird and bizarre to talk about culture from a man who's a man woman. Next. Oh my God. Lord, something got to give on this one. Something got to give on this one. Here's Maxine Waters.
What does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence. I believe he expects confrontation. I believe he's working toward a civil war. What does Trump expect? Oh, I believe he expects violence.
Now, this lady should have been arrested back in a time period when we had BLM riots, when she was at the gas station saying, we're going to fight him in the streets. We're going to fight him at the gas station. We're going to fight him at the grocery store. We're going to fight him at the supermarket. We're going to fight them anywhere we go. She incited such violence that I don't even understand why there's been no consequences and repercussions for this crypt keeper. I mean, there's been nothing. No censure, no nothing. It's utterly ridiculous. But again, I believe they're going to have to be allowed to destroy themselves. And I think that's where we are. You kind of have no choice. Here's Ghetto Mama, Jasmine Crockett, the next candidate for president of the United States of America.
How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on them? Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
Oh my Lord. You want to know what I hear talking? I hear ignorant Negro privilege. In my city of New Orleans, where I grew up, guess who made the beds in the hotels? People's mothers and grandmothers. They weren't Latinos, they was black. And they did it because they wanted to send their sons and daughters to college. And each generation got stronger. So the mother who went down to Royal Street to make beds in hotels in Royal Street for 50 years and worked as housekeeping on Royal Street in New Orleans. Her son went on to be mayor. Her daughters went on to be judges. But it's like, what planet does this woman live on? But she's the bougie boule. She doesn't account for the fact that there are plenty of people who need jobs. And she doesn't even account for the fact that her party, the Democratic Party, which has destroyed the educational system in America and made sure that people that look like her are absolutely damn dumb and illiterate. On top of that, you bring in people to take the jobs that those people who you undereducated, underserved, will not have a job. This is the problem when you have people who are bougie in politics, because they only think about the level that they're at. They don't have the ability to think about any circumstance outside of themselves. And then when they look at other circumstances that are quote unquote beneath them, they look at them through the lenses of their life. There will always be work that's needed to be done. Always. And as America gets stronger and stronger, there will be plenty of jobs that are open. Now, if she wanted to have a conversation, if I was in front of these people having a conversation, see, I would go to Donald Trump and say, all right, Donald, we need you to start doing some changes to the education system. Well, what do you suggest, James? Well, I need trades to go back into high schools. Donald, we getting rid of the illegals, and I'm 100% on board with that. But see, we need trades to go back to high school. So when a young man graduates from high school, if he can't go on to college, if he doesn't have the mental capacity to go on to college, he should come out knowing how to do basic carpentry skills, knowing how to fix cars, and doing things to where all those quote unquote jobs that we need the illegals for, we have people qualified for those jobs, because there are people who will not go to college. And right now, that person who does not go to college, they go into the streets. But she wouldn't know nothing about that. She wouldn't. She wouldn't know anything about that. She don't know nothing about heads being bust, blown, brains being laid out in the streets. She don't know nothing about it. So she can't attend to it, because it's the perfect opportunity for her to say, yeah, okay, I'm with you. Look, Donald, this is what we need. We need A, B, C, D, E, F, G in inner city schools. And this is what we need in rural schools as well. We need this blend inside of a rural school, because they tend to have some of those skills because it's still traditional. So they still tend to learn those things. But we need these skills added in, like a gumbo, like seasoning. We're going to season these children as they're growing up to make them grow. And we're going to fertilize. We're going to fertilize these young minds to when they grow into full capacity for the level that they're at. Because everybody not taking no AP bio. Yeah. Everybody's not AP bio. And it's never going to be that way where everybody's AP bio. You understand what I'm saying? But these people freaking crazy. They're crazy, dog. Get off my screen. They crazy, dog. Who is this calling me? And everybody's not going to be that way. So her premise that we need the illegals because who going to pick your fruit? Trick, let them robots pick that fruit. That's what they're working towards anyway. Let the robots pick the fruit. In this AI age that we go into anyway. And that's the conflicting thing that's going on. Think about it. She's a part of the same group of people, the same group of globalists that's telling everybody AI is the future. We're moving to a society where the robots will do everything. AI will take over and manage to destroy everything. AI will increase production. And then you go look at Amazon warehouses and you got the robots rolling around confused as to what they should do. And then she's saying, and the concept and idea is that the robots will do all the menial jobs and tasks. So let's say we brought 100 million illegals in here to do menial jobs and tasks. What happens when a robot takes jobs? They go into the streets and they commit crime. So now you have crime spike through the roof. We already had one spike through the roof. I'm talking about mega crime. And then guess what you do? You got to corral all them into a city and put them in there and put them on government welfare. And that's what they want, because now they can just extract all the money from the illegals, because we got a city where illegals are. They need help because they can't work. Well, they don't belong in this nation. And so they can grift all that money. And then she can go back to her $1 million mansion in her $1 million neighborhood and go to her fancy grocery store and go in and get her fancy food, which is poisoned by Bill Gates, and get her a peel avocados that never rot, and her apples that never turn brown, and her oranges that never turn brown. And simultaneously, they killing her caterpillar eye behind at the same time they killing us. They are traitors to boot, man. Traitors is what these people are. And they're ignorant traitors. Damn bunch of damn traitors and sellouts is what they are. I will agree that Donald Trump needs to defund woke universities. Any university that sits there, first of all, let's establish some things. American universities, when they first were founded, were the place where America exported Christianity all around the world. Don't believe me? Go back and do your research. So we go from universities that sent missionaries out and exported the gospel of Jesus Christ all over the world to the complete inversion of it, where it's a woke, demon-infested university that's turned inward to destroy America. If you go back and look at the majority of these universities that were set up, that was the purpose, right? So now we've disintegrated to the point to where the students on campus are weaponized. Not all of them, not everyone, but a number of them are weaponized. And this is what they're doing. And the fact of the matter is, I would defund them. You're not going to take federal dollars and have your students running around acting a fool. We're not doing that. I don't owe you the federal money. I don't have to give you a damn thing. But it's that, what I would call that entitlement that has infected America.
Yeah, I just saw some news that Trump took some grants away from Johns Hopkins, where my sister works, and now my mom's upset. She's texting me. It's going to be a whole family thing. So we'll have to deal with that over the weekend. But Ed, when you talk about these thieves, because that's what they are. I mean, you don't take money and pay yourself a huge salary and not do anything with the money except give it to other NGOs that open the borders and open the prisons. I mean, that is a massive scam, and we're hearing Pam Bondi's already investigating it as fraud. Yeah, I just saw some news that
to get to the bottom of the NGO fraud, it's going to be pain. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. It's going to be pain. Now, what I'm still not understanding, and I'm being patient, is NGOs have board of directors. It's listed who's on the NGO. There was one NGO, climate something, that I did the research on, that when I went back and dug deeper into it, I didn't understand how it happened, but there was nobody listed. There was nobody listed on the paperwork. There was no attorney that set it up. I was like, this is crazy. But it was climate something. And I was like, this is insane. Like, who approved this with no documentation? Now, for those of you guys who don't know what an NGO is, it's nothing more than a 503c or 501c. Excuse me, I had coffee. And a nonprofit organization. But to understand, there's a lot of paperwork that goes into having a nonprofit and maintaining a nonprofit. And I'm sitting there looking and saying, well, damn, this one had to be approved on high, because there's nothing here, no information. That's when I stopped digging down that rabbit hole, because I was like, yeah, this is how you get your head knocked off your shoulders. Because, and I'm not really interested in getting my head knocked off my shoulders. Not interested in that at all. But I do like the fact that I know where to go look. And it's insane. I mean, it's completely and utterly insane. The fact that we got money flowing through NGOs and then out to protesters to get them out on the streets. And the easiest thing to do is freeze all their assets. Freeze all their money. Why that hasn't been done yet, I don't know. These are the kind of questions that bother me. Because to me, some of these solutions are simple. It's like, hey, you got an NGO. We investigated you. Let's say it's Johns Hopkins University. They got $20 billion. $20 billion went out to this. $1 billion went to this NGO. I have evidence that that $1 billion was put into the streets for protesters. Your accounts are now frozen. I would use these larger NGOs as kind of the ones, to follow the paper trail. And then freeze the funding, freeze the funding, freeze the funding, freeze the bank accounts. And then you'll see the protesting dry up. Now, it's clear that somebody, I said this a couple of weeks ago, somebody's money got unfrozen because you started seeing more activism in the streets. And then there's videos of one NGO. I'm pretty sure I have this. If I can find my favorites. I'm pretty sure I have this one NGO where they're literally talking about getting, here it is. These people are literally talking about it.
Able to win those types of victories, and others have too, that really change people's lives and slow things down. But we've also been able to use the courts as an exposure tactic. So DOGE, this so-called Department of Government Efficiency, everybody's about efficiency, but you don't get efficiency when you fire all the inspector generals whose job it is to root out corruption and inefficiency and waste and fraud and abuse. So we know that what this is a farce, and we and others have filed a number of lawsuits, and in those lawsuits, the courts, in some instances, have slowed DOGE down and stopped them, and in other instances have said, you know, we need to learn more, and so they've ordered discovery against this, which is a tool that we have to be able to ask questions, to be able to inform the public, and in doing that, it's not just about securing the court ruling, although we will continue to secure those, and I guarantee you we will, and so will our partners every single day continue to fight in the courts. But it's also about forcing some public accountability, and it goes back to what Professor Cole said around civil society and how we can all respond and how the courts can really be used as a mechanism not just to protect our rights, but also to help inform us and to help make us more informed about how we can hold our lawmakers accountable to win.
So basically, she sits here saying that they're launching lawfare against the President Trump's administration. And now, again, as a person who's been in environments where and grew up in a city where if you did business, you had to be aware of the fact that there were always federal investigators, federal informants in the mix with people. What's amazing me at this point in time is how these groups are not immediately being infiltrated. Like it's mind-blowing to me, because technically they're borderline. Many of them are taking terroristic actions, and the rest of them are like in a gray area. But this chick right here, and if I'm Kash Patel, you got the balls to sit here and talk about it. Let's see if you bought it. And I know Kash doesn't have control over all the resources, and Kash doesn't have control over the FBI. But honestly, if I found myself in a situation and I'm president, I would found a new organization. I would do an end around. I would establish a new organization and bring in the people that I want to bring in immediately. With some of those budget cuts, I'd be like, all right, you got the FBI. I'm going to do a new branch under the FBI. It's going to be called the blah, 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 blah. I don't know, the Lincoln Group. And the Lincoln Group will be all agents that I know are good guys, that have been proving themselves to be good guys. And my Lincoln Group would be tasked with going out and finding out what's going on with all these people. While we clean up the FBI, this Lincoln Group will be off to the races. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of retired intelligence agents. Like you could take a Steve Pachenik. I'm pretty sure he has an army of people that would function properly in this. And then bring them in, staff them. I mean, this would happen overnight. I would staff them, deputize them, get them rolling, and they'll be gone. Pew. Now you go clean up the rest of the FBI. But this is our group over here that we're going to build the new FBI around. And as you sort through all the bad guys, the bad actors that have been put there, that are in league with the globalists, then this group is off to the races. To me, some of these problems are simple. And it maybe I'm making them too simple. But to me, they're simple.
Imagine telling someone who was born in a dictatorship that Donald Trump is a dictator. If any Cubans or anybody else who was born in a dictatorship, had gone through a dictatorship, hears what you're saying or reads what you're saying, I guarantee you they are cracking up right now. All I do is laugh on this app every day. You guys make me laugh so much because I'm like, oh my God, the privileged Americans have no idea.
Yep.
They're cosplaying oppression and they don't know the first thing about being oppressed. A dictator, really?
I don't think you can articulate it any better than what she's saying. They are literally cosplaying. I mean, she's right. They're literally cosplaying being oppressed. I don't think you can say it any better than what she just said. I mean, it's to the point to where it's utterly ridiculous. We're oppressed by Donald Trump. Women are under attack. Our rights are under assault. I've said this a long time ago. I wish we could snap our fingers and drop people in Palestine. Snap our fingers, drop them in the Ukraine war right at the front line. Snap our fingers, drop them in China. Just snap, and then you're there. And let time speed up. So within, let's say every 1 minute was 5 days. And we'll leave them there for 15 minutes. Then snap and let them come back. They'd be like, oh my God, thank you. Oh my God, I'm back in America. Thank you, Jesus. Because everything is taken for granted. I mean, everything is taken for granted. And it's utterly disgusting. Every little liberty that American people have has been taken for granted and being compared to some of the worst things on the planet and equated to some of the worst things on the planet. And it can't continue and it can't go on. For example, here's people in the UK. Let me say this. In the Bible, a nation, the size of a nation, was dictated by the number of men. Military age men was what dictated the size of a nation. Not women and children, but men. So when we start talking about a nation, it's always about the men biblically. Now people can say, I don't believe in the Bible, Dr. Waters, because Jesus, that's Caesar Borgias, and because Jesus was a black man and the white man told us that he's a white man and Jesus didn't die. But I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care how you feel about it, because the enemy that we face, they understand these things. You the ignorant one. They understand these things. Why do you think they sent military age men into America? Because they were sending a nation inside of a nation. Why do you think they said, when they talk about the statistics, and they would be like, well, America's the demographics of America's changing. White men will be a minority in America in blah, 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 blah years. They didn't say women and children, men, because they understand what actually makes a nation a nation. So when you send in military age men into a nation, like they did to America, like they've done in the UK, you are being invaded. It's just not with guns and bullets yet. So here's the invasion. And see, the craziest thing is, in America, bro, I had to go take that. Yeah. I'm gonna take that from you. We about to box it out. Yeah. If I'm at a parade and you marching, I'm gonna have to take that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that about you, homie. We're not playing none of that. You're not gonna do that in front of me. Yeah, we're gonna have to scrap. Yeah, we're gonna have to scrap. The problem is, in the UK, if somebody scrapped it out with him, they will be arrested. But I'm sorry, bro, we're going to have to scrap. Not because you're from Pakistan. I don't give a damn where you're from. Not because you're probably a Muslim. I don't care about that. That ain't the reason. That ain't got nothing to do with it. This America, homie. And you're not going to be marching down the street like you conquered us. You ain't conquered me and my family. You have the right to raise your flag and walk up and down the street with your flag. You ain't conquer me. No. You don't get to declare victory and we ain't had no battle. Now, if you want a battle, you calling for a war and a fight, then we need to scrap it out. Somebody got to get blooded. But no, dog. No. That don't make no sense. But see, what they're doing is they're demoralizing the people of the UK, and that government is doing it to them, while simultaneously telling them that they're going to fund the Ukraine and send their sons and daughters into Ukraine to die at war, therefore leaving a nation reestablished with new people inside of their nation. If I'm the president of the UK, if I want to get people to leave, I'll say, hey, we are going to war in the Ukraine, and I would like to thank all of our new people, males who immigrated into the United Kingdom. We will be drafting you into the war, and I will go and draft every last one of them and put their ass on the front line. You hear? You're going to fight. Every last one of you getting put on the front line. I don't want to go. That's all right. We're going to round you up. We're going to put you on a plane, and we dropping you off in Ukraine, right at the front line. Go fight. The word will be, don't go to UK while James Williams is there, because all he's doing is grabbing us, putting us on the front line and sending us to die. No. You got to earn the privilege to live here. Now, you make it out of this war alive, I'll let you stay here. But you don't just get to come here and manhandle my people. Is this the World Economic Forum plan? I'm going to feed you to a meat grind. They'd be like, man, we're not going there. What do you mean? They round you up and send you to war. Yeah, I'm going to let y'all go to war and leave our sons and daughters at home to procreate and our nation to grow. But see, nobody talks like this. They won't talk like this. Dan Bongino, I thought he had already started to work in the FBI. I'm not sure what's going on with Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino is a owner of Rumble, and I think it's a great thing that he's going into the FBI, because I believe Dan Bongino understands everything that's happening. And we need somebody that understands everything that's going on. Tulsi Gabbard, our nation's intelligence community must be focused on our national security. Politically motivated leaks undermine our national security and trust of the American people and will not be tolerated. Unfortunately, such leaks have become commonplace with no investigation or accountability. This ends now. We know of and are aggressively pursuing recent leakers from within the intelligence community and will hold them accountable. Any unauthorized releases of classified information is a violation of law and will be treated as such. Let's see what Tulsi is talking about. This is very important, guys. And I'm going to tell you why this is super important. The leaking of information is more than just information to our enemies. It's actually leaks of where our president is, where our vice president is, and what operations we have going on inside our territory. And it's something that I mentioned a couple of days ago because I was dumbfounded by it. I said, how do these protesters know where J.D. Vance is? If you go back and think about it, when the guy tried to target Donald Trump at the golf course, I said, how did that person know he was playing golf at that day and at that time? And somebody was like, well, you know, he lives there. He can play golf any day. This is the damn, he about to be the president of the United States. I should not be able to know when the candidate for the president of the United States is doing anything. I should know when the president of the United States is doing anything. And I like the president, but I don't need to know where he gonna be and what time he gonna be there. Nobody should know that information. Same thing for Joe Biden. Nobody should have known where Joe Biden's gonna be, when, where, and how. Now, if they said that Joe was going to Mena, Arkansas. Or Joe was going to Little Rock, Arkansas. Common sense may tell you, okay, Joe Biden's going to Arkansas, and the route that he's got to take from the airport to his location is such and such. Okay, that's one thing. You see what I'm saying? But the fact that somebody knew what day and time J.D. Vance was going to be taking his family on vacation and where, the fact that somebody knew what day and time Donald Trump was going to be on the golf course and exactly where, man, that's a problem. And there's no way to justify that to me other than you have enemies within, which is what Donald Trump said. We have enemies within, and we have to deal with the enemies within. And then the Democrats came out and was like, he said they got enemies within on the news. Well, you are the enemy within. All right. A leaker who has been sharing classified information with the Huffington Post, a leaker within the IC sharing information on Israel and Iran with Washington Post, a leaker within IC sharing information about U.S.-Russia relations with NBC, a leaker sharing information on NCSC activities and actions with the record. Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. So she called them out. Wow. And if you just consider for a moment, what would be the purpose of her calling them out? I feel like, and this is a feeling, I could be wrong, I feel like this has already been dealt with. Like, okay, I just want the public to know that we've done this. But I feel like you don't, or you shouldn't, I guess is the best way to put it. You shouldn't be saying this publicly unless the issue has been dealt with. I maybe it's better if I say it like that. You shouldn't be saying this publicly unless the issue has been dealt with. Maybe the issue has. And that's the only thing I can think of at this point in time. It would have to be an issue that has been dealt with. Because I don't see the reason for putting the public pressure outside of the fact that you want to put pressure on. Oh, there it is. You want to put the pressure on the Huffington Post, the Washington Post, the NBC, the Record. Okay, let's read this again. Let's just see. Go back. Our nation's intelligence community must be focused on our national security missions. Politically motivated leaks undermine our national security and trust of the American people and will not be tolerated. Unfortunately, such leaks have become commonplace with no investigation or accountability. That ends now. We know and are aggressively pursuing recent leakers from within the intelligence community and will hold them accountable. Recent leakers. So this is focused on those doing the leaking, but I believe that it's designed to shake up the person at the Huffington Post, at the Washington Post, at NBC, at the Record, maybe to get them to start talking and go into fear. Nonetheless, we can't have people leaking information, man. That's what happened to the first Donald Trump administration, and it's a terrible thing. Zelenskyy accuses Putin of manipulating the ceasefire proposal. Zelenskyy. We had a very good and productive discussion with President Vladimir Putin of Russia yesterday, and there is a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are being completely surrounded by Russian military and in a very bad and vulnerable position. I have strongly requested that President Putin, that their lives be spared. This would be a horrible massacre, one not seen since the World War II. God bless them all. Of course, everybody's going to curse out Trump. And so here's the thing the problem I have with leftists in America. How do you believe anything that comes out of out of Zelensky's mouth? Right now, we have heard all from Putin's highly predictable and manipulative words in response to the idea of ceasefire on the front lines. At this moment, he is, in fact, preparing to reject it. Of course, Putin is. Let's just let this clown talk.
Бажаю здоров'я. Сьогоднішній день візит делегації парламенту Нідерландів. Я подякував за підтримку. обговорили подальшу спільну роботу в Євросоюзі. Візит делегації Туреччини, урядовців та бізнесу цієї країни. Наші друзі, наші важливі партнери.
No, I'm not interested in hearing him. I'd rather read it. Of course, Putin is afraid to tell President Trump directly what he wants to continue this war and keep killing Ukrainians. That's why in Moscow, they are surrounding the ceasefire deal with such preconditions that it either fails or gets drug out as long as possible. Okay, I'm stopping right here. Let's use an ounce of damn common sense. Let's go find out what Putin said. Because if I'm not mistaken, Putin addressed some things that made all the sense in the world. Ceasefire. Because Putin, if I'm not mistaken, Putin said, now there was Putin ceasefire conditions. If I'm not mistaken, everything he said made sense. Let's see if he's talking English.
Stop hostilities.
Let's use the 7-minute clip.
Что касается готовности Украины к прекращению огня, я сейчас скажу, конечно, как я это оцениваю, но прежде всего хотел бы начать со слов благодарности в адрес президента Соединенных Штатов, господина Трампа, за то, что он уделяет урегулированию на Украине столько много внимания. У всех у нас хватает своих текущих дел, но многие лидеры государств и председатель Китайской Народной Республики, премьер-министр Индии, президенты Бразилии и Южноафриканской Республики занимаются этим вопросом, уделяют немало времени. Мы всем им за это благодарны, потому что эта деятельность направлена на достижение благородной миссии прекращения боевых действий и человеческих потерь. Первое. Второе. Мы согласны с предложениями прекратить боевые действия. Но исходим из того, что это прекращение должно быть таким, которое привело бы к долгосрочному миру и устранило бы первоначальные причины этого кризиса. Теперь по поводу готовности Украины к прекращению боевых действий. Вы знаете, так вот, встреча американо-украинская встреча в Саудовской Аравии, она внешне, может быть, выглядит как принятие решения украинской стороной под американским давлением. На самом деле убежден абсолютно в том, что украинская сторона должна была бы просить об этом у американцев самым настоятельным образом, исходя из той ситуации, которая складывается, как сейчас здесь только что было сказано, на земле. А как она складывается? Вот наверняка многие заметили, видели, что вчера я был в Курской области и выслушивал доклады и начальника генерального штаба, командующего группировкой «Север» и его заместителя по поводу ситуации в приграничье, прежде всего в Курской области, вернее, в зоне вклинения в Курской области. Что там происходит? Там ситуация полностью под нашим контролем. И группировка, которая вторглась на нашу территорию, находится в изоляции. Это полная изоляция и полный огневой контроль. Управление войсками украинскими внутри этой зоны вторжения утрачено. И если на первых этапах, вот буквально там неделю-две назад, украинские военнослужащие пытались выходить оттуда небольшой...
Wow. Just a week or two ago, Ukrainian servicemen tried to leave there in large groups, and this is impossible. No longer possible. They're trying to leave there in small groups or 2 or 3 people because everything is under our complete fire control. The equipment is completely abandoned. It is impossible to take it out. and it will remain there. This is a guarantee. And there's a physical blockade in the days come. No one will be able to leave at all. Okay, got it. So Putin comes out and says that they literally put a physical blockade in place. And so imagine the troops on the battlefield are completely surrounded. They can't leave. They can't go in any direction. And so Putin has his troops being held hostage. And when we go back to what Donald said, his exact words were, it would be a massacre of unlike anything since World War II. Where's he at? We had a very good and productive discussion with President Vladimir Putin of Russia yesterday, and there's a very good chance that this horrible, bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded by the Russian military and in a very bad, vulnerable position. I have strongly requested to President Putin that their lives be spared. This would be a horrible massacre, one not seen since World War II. God bless them all. Listen, Putin came out and said, and I don't feel like going through the whole thing, but he laid out what will be required for a ceasefire. I think let's just see if somebody has the quick version of it so you can hear it yourself. Because I thought I saw someone underneath it with the quick version, but nonetheless, that's on the 13th. Today is the 17th. What's the day? Or here it is. Let's just go with this one. These conditions are very simple. Ukrainian troops must be completely withdrawn from Donetsk, Lugansk People's Republic, and Kherson. And I draw attention to the entire territory of these regions within their administrative borders that exist at the time of their entry into Ukraine. As soon as Kiev declares that they are ready to make such a decision to begin real withdrawal of troops from the regions, also officially notifies of the abandonment of plans to join NATO, we will immediately, literally at the very moment, issue an order to ceasefire and begin negotiations. I repeat, we will do this without delay. Naturally, at the same time, we guarantee and unimpeded, well, whatever. He's probably going to say an unimpeded line of retreat. So essentially what Putin did is he went in and completely surrounded their troops and are holding them hostage for leverage at the negotiation table. And we can confirm that from what Donald Trump just said. And so here's the thing that's most disturbing. Michael McKay, Ukrainian troops are not surrounded anywhere on the battlefield. Trump is a liar, serving the interests of Russian invaders. Wow, Michael. Next, Jay in Kiev. Incredible. Trump is just so stupid. Wow. Another person. Our team has a good understanding of the situation in Kursk. There are no encircled troops. The retreat is generally organized, but occasionally chaotic. There is no retreat or encirclement. Wow. It's amazing. And this is what's popping up on X. Ukraine front line. This is 100% Russian propaganda. Ukrainian troops are not surrounded anywhere on the battlefield. Wow. So Donald Trump is lying. Vladimir Putin is lying. And it's amazing because let's just assume for a moment that the president of the United States, who has all the intel information on the war, who's the one that shut off the weapons of war and shut off all their missiles, right? And stop sending reinforcements and ammunition. Let's just assume for a moment that he don't know what the hell he's talking about. And that those troops are not surrounded. Has anybody ever considered that clearly the Russian army has decided that there's a limited scope to what they wanted to do? I mean, for me, it's clear because after seeing those supersonic missiles falling out of the sky like something off a damn alien invasion movie, It's clear they could have decapitated the leadership of the Ukraine a long time ago. Zelensky himself, while he was laying in bed, could have been blown up a long time ago. I mean, it's been obvious to me that if he wanted to rock Zelensky, he could have rocked Zelensky's head off his shoulders at any point in time. So when I look at the war, I'm sitting there saying, well, why are you playing with these people, man? It's clear that he wants that territory back. It's clear that he's gotten to the point the way he's ready to not push any further. But it's also clear that he's willing to push all the way through and take everything. But he's satisfied with what he got. So anybody who's sitting here calling, especially from the Ukraine. So this guy is a Ukrainian, Jay in Kiev. So we got Ukrainians telling the president of the United States, who gave them all this crap for them and wasted all this money, $100 billion, $200, $300 billion. Now you calling the president of the United States a lie? Screw you. You're lucky I ain't president. I'd be like Putin, blow all of them up. It ain't none of my damn. It's none of my damn business in the first place. It was never any of our damn business. It was a place where they embezzled and funneled money. It ain't none of my damn business. As an American citizen, I don't care about what's going on in the Ukraine. I don't. And that's how everybody else feels outside of the psychological operation that happened, which clearly now we know was funded by NGOs and 20 million fake accounts, which are the same 20 million age 100 to 300-year-olds that are on Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, or Social Security. Those are all social media accounts that were used to pull us into this war. Remember when the Ukrainian war started, all these people had these flags on their Facebook. I stand with Ukraine. What? Wait, what? You standing with who? Why? I don't care. I'm pretty sure you don't care. I tell you what you do care about. You care about the fact that all that money going over there. Yeah. I tell you what I care about, that all of a sudden we understand that that same money that came from our purses is now being used to target and try and whack American citizens, journalists, the vice president, and the president. That pisses me off to the highest point of festivity. That alone would be enough of a reason for me to let them run through the Ukraine. To walk away from, like Zelensky, you got a deal on the table, you need to take this deal. But I don't know if I want to take the deal. Look, Zelensky, a little trick. You don't have a choice. Either you take this deal or you don't. But I'm never turning another missile back on for you. I'm never giving you no more ammo. I'm not doing a damn thing for you. Well, you can't allow. I will not do a damn. You think I don't know that you tried to whack me? I will not do a damn thing for you moving forward. This is where you are, Zelensky. That would be that. Well, the American people will not stand for this. The American people will be all right. When they parade your body through the streets and it's over, Zelensky, it's going to be over. But I wouldn't do a damn thing for him. But see, I'm not mature enough to be a president. I'm not. I'll tell you, I'm not mature enough. I'm not a mature enough individual to be president of the United States. I'm just not. Because people be getting hurt all over the place, man. It would end bad if I was the president of the United States. All right, guys, it's getting close to my noontime prayer time. I'll be back. Let me get up out of here, and I'll be back.